It's the biggest show ever. We're so excited. We're out of our minds. We're starting early because it's a great big deal. We have so much going on. The best day ever on the tarot show ever. We're so excited. We're out of our minds. And I have to mute.
I hear myself.
It's a great big deal. Wait, I had to mute. Wait, what happened?
What's going on here?
I'll tell you what's going on.
Why are you, I hear myself.
I know, I had to mute.
You gotta mute yourself or something. What's going on?
I had to mute the. I'll tell you what's going on. No.
Why are you? There's like a, it's like a echo in here.
An echo. Why would it do that? It never does that.
You gotta mute yourself or something.
Is it better now? No.
I fucking hear myself.
Shit.
There's like a.
Did I hang up? I'm gonna hang up and call back.
No, it's, how's that?
No.
Is it better?
Oh, that's so much better. Oh God, that's so much better.
I don't know what the hell. I just had to close all the windows.
We cannot have any technical issues.
No, it's
today
fine. That's why we're starting early. So
that is exactly why we started early. 35 people already watching the chat. Thank you, Jim, for moderating all of the goodness. We will try to get some questions from the chat. But hey, kids, it's Eugene Carroll Day here on the Tara Show, and we are beyond out of our minds excited to talk about her extremely awesome new book, Not My Type. I have made just a few notes, just a few. I only have 3 decades worth of questions to ask her. We are fully obsessed with Eugene Carroll, as we should be. If those of you in the chat who have read Not My Type, you know that we are extra super lucky to have her here this week. Aside from just being extra super lucky to have her, period, to have her time, because she is so in demand. Right now, she has been everywhere talking about Not My Type. So this puts us in the same realm as Katie Couric and Jen Rubin. And she sat down with some amazing women already. But we have this exclusive time. We've got her here for nearly a full half hour. She's going to be calling in shortly. So if you've got some questions for Eugene, please drop them in the chat. We will try to get to them. But it isn't like I haven't been sitting here going, oh, I want to ask her about that. Wait, oh, I want to ask her about that. Over and over and over. And so, prefacing that, there are things going on in the world at the same time this is going on. But I don't know if you saw Trump put up a Truth Social post today. Why is everyone talking about whether or not I am or I am not all over the Epstein files?
Oh my God.
The fact that he's using the phrase all over the Epstein files means, guess what, kids?
He's all over it.
All over the Epstein files.
It's a confession. It's a confession. Another confession or projection from the Trumpanzees.
Correct. Correct. And therefore, when we see this, it's just like, well, why do you think? The guy who won't stop talking about the 2020 election really wants us to move on from the Epstein files, and we are not. Because not only is this coming out, MAGA be mad. And it's interesting to be watching that, because it's like they're doing a whole bunch of thinking and figuring things out at the same time, and they don't know what side to land on or where to put their loyalty. Because it's like, you promised us the binders, we got the binders, then the binders were full of blacked out pages, then you said the list was on your desk for review, and now you're saying there's not a list. What up?
Yeah.
So
it's just so disgraceful that this is the lie that you've decided is your bridge too far, because he's been lying for decades, even before he came down the escalator. I mean, he's a disco prowling con man, and everyone knows it. We've known it in New York. Everybody who lives in New York, that's why he's loathed here. That's all he is. He's just a con man, a grabby, grubby, greed-centered con man. And, Eugene has her stories. Of course, we're going to hear about them in a few minutes. And she got the full effect of the disco prowling con man, who he really is.
Yes, and what's great about the book Not My Type is that she takes us, and we'll talk about it obviously in more detail in a few minutes when she joins us. But for those of you who haven't read it yet, I really encourage you to do so, because there's full court transcripts in it. And you can see, and there are things that the public really never heard because the media never reported on other witness testimony. They were so focused on Trump's accordion performances every time he left the courtroom, or his lies, his continuing to defame her after the fact, which is why there was a second trial, because he just couldn't stop defaming her.
Yeah, that
if
night.
He just shut his, right? And if he had just kept his puckered orange anus mouth shut, he would only have had to have paid her $5 million. But because he couldn't stop. Now he owes her $100 million, and it's sitting in escrow and collecting interest every day. So every day he doesn't pay her, every day he owes her more money, and it's delightful.
Wow.
And when she gets that payout, she's going to turn around and use it to buy stuff and pay for stuff that's going to make him big mad. She's
well,
going to
that's
put that
the thing.
Money...
Yeah, I wanted to talk about what she should do, in my opinion, and we should put this bug in her ear, is to support the independent liberal media, because that's what's going to win this country back. You know, she was in her book, she's discussing all the things that she wants to do with the money to help women's causes and all of that, and that's great too. But it all begins with the message, and you guys know how I feel. We talk about it all the time. That the true problems in this country stem from money and politics. That is the root of all evil, but it would not have been possible without the media, without them owning the message, dividing this country up, and just proliferating from sea to shining sea, just the lies, nonstop lies.
Of course.
Yeah, the Trumpanzees, they're not coming up with this stuff on their own. Everything from the Epstein files too, like everything that we're talking about. They're getting it from, you know, from their media misinformation machines, but also, of course, you know, Russian propaganda. I mean, there's a reason why the authoritarians take over the message, the means of communications. So, if without the message,
interesting.
Yep.
It's interesting. And a couple of days ago, regular viewers of the Tara Show who are already signed up for our individual Substacks know that I have written extensively about the Epstein files. And last year, basically a year ago this week, Ron DeSantis ordered a judge in Florida to declassify. It was actually before a year ago. He ordered a judge in Florida to declassify a cache of Epstein victim testimony. I believe he did it to be a petty little bitch because he couldn't run for president against Trump and had to drop out. Why the media never covered it, I don't know, but I picked up on it almost immediately and was sharing the excerpt of victim testimony, and people were like, that's fake, and I was like, no, it's not, and let me record it. And so I have been sharing my voice, recorded that excerpt, which is vile and disgusting and horrific to listen to. I don't know how many times I have shared it. I wrote a whole Substack about it a year ago this week with, in big block letters, Donald Trump raped children. There's no other way to say it, so don't say it any other way. And for whatever reason, somebody found it again on Substack, and it has been doubly exploding.
Oh, good.
It has been exploding more. Yesterday, I was number 44 in fiction on Substack. Today, I am number 13 and rising. Thank you very much. And it would be really great. I have gotten like 500 new free subscribers to my Substack, which is wonderful. Thank you. I adore you and appreciate you. If a fraction of them would just pay for it, that'd be great too, because the corporate media didn't tell you this story, but I did. The corporate media didn't read from the Epstein files. I did. The corporate media didn't put their necks on the line, putting this disgusting shit out into the world so more people would know about it. I did. And I put it on Blue Sky, and someone responded with, I think Substack is a ripoff. And I was like, really? Which member of the corporate media told you about this? Oh, nobody, but I did. Don't you think that's worth $10 a month? Don't you think the truth is worth $10 a month? Don't you think the truth is worth giving up a Starbucks run or a cocktail or the day you ran out for a sandwich? You could have made dinner at home. I'm just saying, if you're going to spend your money, I ask you to spend it where it's needed. Right? Supporting local women, Black-owned businesses, supporting causes that matter to you. But what should matter right now more than ever is the truth, and you're only going to get the truth from independent media sources who do not have a corporate boss breathing on our neck saying, do not report on this.
That's right.
Because that is, it happened at MSNBC and CNN. They are not telling the whole story when they report on him. They might report on him, but they're not saying everything. And this week, having the Epstein files being back in the news at the same time that Eugene is joining us, she can speak uniquely to how Trump uses his physicality to intimidate others and how he pushes people to do things they don't want to do because he can physically threaten them, or he can threaten them with a tweet. And, ooh, I'm so scared of your tweets. No, I'm not, because I've been blocked by him on Twitter for nearly 10 years. And so there is a small, select group of women in this world who spoke out against Trump, and Trump blinked. We made him blink. Now, obviously, I cannot compare my experience to the women who spoke out against the physical assaults, the sexual assaults. But what I do know is that women who speak the truth about Trump get blocked, or we get scapegoated, or whatever else. Those things, I got doxxed. To this day, people don't believe that my block is real, or the Epstein files are real, or Eugene's rape is real.
They don't believe the friggin' sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, these people, unless the baboon tells them. So, yeah, I mean, it's just it's the mental illness of this country. That's why I want to talk to Eugene about that too, really, about the mental health of this country, because she discusses that in her book. And the other thing she mentioned, it was about Alina Habba Esquire, how she how Trump abused her too, how she witnessed him demeaning her, barking orders at her, saying, get up, stand up,
get up. And she didn't know why.
Yeah.
She's
and
like,
she would just stand up.
Okay.
And then like, start, with her bullshit. This is a witch hunt. This is a blah, 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 I don't understand how these people, and if Alina Habba is so smart, and that's what Eugene says, she constantly compliments her on her intelligence and her skill. Why are you demeaning yourself? Why are you debasing yourself for somebody so vile?
Yeah. And that to me is one of the more fascinating aspects of this, why we're still suffering from him 10 years, a full decade of him, where he's surrounded by people who look good but can't actually deliver any results for him. Because Eugene says in the book, Alina Habba Esquire cannot present evidence. She just can't. She can't do it.
She was like a parking lot lawyer. She wasn't. She met him at like Bedminster Golf Course, and he was like, "Oh, she looks good."
And like she said too, she did a great interview with Jen Rubin from The Contrarian yesterday, which I encourage everyone to check out later today, where she was like, she just doesn't know anything. Like, she looks good and she's smart and she pays attention and she can read the room, but she can't present evidence. She doesn't know anything about it. And it was just, it's unreal. Like, when you're surrounded by all of these inept people, how did you get so far in life?
I know.
Like, nobody can land anything real. Look at Hegseth acting like a lone wolf doing all of this stuff. Like, you don't think that's going to come back to bite you and all of that?
Oh, God, yeah.
We have so many things to talk to her about. She should be calling me momentarily. Ooh, I'm shaking with anticipation and excitement.
It's the time.
My stomach is
I see the
fluttering.
Time. Damn.
She has the link. It is now just waiting.
I hear.
Just waiting. Is it the moment?
All right, Eugene, hold on a second. You're in the green room, my friend. Hold on.
A journalist is always punctual.
She's great. Hold on.
I love her.
We're going to bring you in. Let's see. Which one should we use? Let's use this one. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hold on a second, Eugene. I got to assign you. There we go.
There she is. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Welcome.
Hello, Shiro. Wait, let me make sure I'm more centered here.
Yes.
Okay, I got all dressed up.
Can you see yourself, Eugene? Okay,
yes.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
You are in a Tara sandwich.
Yes.
This is great.
You look great. Thank you for joining us.
Why am I off to the side?
I think because your
may be
camera
your
is a
camera.
little. Yeah, if you can you move your camera or move yourself a little over? How's that? There you go.
There she
Better,
is.
better.
Are you
Better,
on your
better,
bouncy
better.
ball?
I'm on my ball.
I love this. If anyone is
amazing.
on the ball, it is Eugene Carroll, the woman who truly needs no introduction because she is known around the world for the woman who held Trump accountable when no one else could. Lifelong shero,
Yes.
incredible journalist and journey woman. Woman about town, about the world, who truly knows the best people. It is Eugene Carroll. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you,
Wow.
Eugene.
What a beautiful introduction. Hello to the two stars.
Yeah.
It's a delight. I made this shirt just for you. I also did a red lip, and I am wearing the same blush, the NARS Orgasm blush,
Oh,
because I got into the weeds with this book, my friend. Look at all the notes I made. Hot pink notes. Where do we begin? Where do we begin with Eugene Carroll, my friend? Because let's start with the book itself, which is magnificent. It is delicious. It's the kind of book you want to eat it. It's fortifying.
Well, I listened to it on tape, and it was like a great experience because it was listening to you tell this story in your own words and your turn of a phrase, and it's just that in itself was an experience. So thank you for that, and the courage to stand up to the baboon, as I call him, and no offense to baboons, but
she calls him that. And so one of the greatest details about this, you never told the White House, you never told anybody you were writing this book because you didn't want any obstruction from the White House, which is totally understandable. Have you gotten a reaction from the White House as of yet?
no, dead silence.
wow. They're just
What does
hoping
that
the
tell you,
Supreme Court,
everyone?
right? They're hoping the Supreme Court's going to swoop in and bail them out. Is that because they're appealing the judgment?
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a very large chance that the Supreme Court will take a case where the President of the United States has been held liable for sexual abuse. It's just not at this time. Anyway, the Supreme Court has many, 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 many cases in front of it. Very busy. So I don't think they're going to take it. I think we're going to get that 83.3 million, and I think we're going to give it away
That's great.
to everything.
Oh,
that
we're
Trump
so
did.
excited for that. I can't
Oh,
wait
hello,
for you to
kitty.
spend his money on the stuff. Please meet Duke Lewis Obama Dublin.
Wow.
Is
Duke.
one of the. This is Duke. There is also a Maxine Rodham Pelosi Dublin walking around, but she might not. She might not show up. How are your dogs doing? Are you enjoying throwing the ball to the dogs?
Well,
Are you able to have that time?
There's one of them. She's not chasing a ball. She's wait, let me see.
Where is she?
Hang on.
Yes.
I got Duke on.
There
this
she is.
fabulous group. Aw.
What a great,
Yeah,
Look at
she's
that.
great relaxing image.
that's
In
Miss
this
Havisham.
fabulous room.
I don't know where Guff is. Guff is
This
in
is
the
a
kitchen.
fabulous room you're in, by the way. Are you in
Yeah.
the mountains? Where are you?
I'm in my hovel.
You're
Where?
huddled?
That's great. I mean, because you're not in the city anymore, right? You mentioned
No,
that.
I've been up here. I've been up here for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Delightful. How
That's lovely.
delightful.
I got to get out of
Wonderful.
Queens.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's get busy
there's
here. We got a lot to talk about.
a bazillion details in your book that are most of it is public record. We all appreciate the details of how you bought all of your stuff on the real and you wore your old clothes to court so that everyone would kind of be reminded of 1996 Eugene.
Yeah.
Those details are really fun to parse, but those are more surface. I want to get into the real stuff that people need to know. And one of the biggest things that we should talk about, and Devlin and I were talking about this before we came on, he is an abuser. Mm-hmm. He has been abusing and bullying this country for years. He bullied and abused you. He violated you not just physically, but he also violated you emotionally. and he took something from you that you had not able to get back for yourself, in that he took away your ability to feel like a sexual human being, to share yourself emotionally and physically with a man forever. And I just want you to talk, if you could, a little bit about what it's like to be in that situation, because it's not something that people really talk about when it comes to him, and how he uses his physicality to intimidate and violate and abuse.
That's a big question.
When you're in that situation, you feel like you're being murdered. That's how I feel. And the main thought in my head was to get out. The main thought in my head was to get out. And I think I did pretty well. I got out.
Right.
He's a very big man. I am, at the time I was 6'1", wearing 4-inch heels. But he is a big man with his entire force coming against me. You feel that your life is ending at that moment.
Right.
And of course my life did. My former life did end at that moment. And now it's gone on to glorious new heights. Here I am on the Terra. The
TNT, baby.
Podcast.
That's right.
The pinnacle of your career, right here.
Oh, oh man.
I'm only kidding.
I'm
kidding.
That should be our new motto. Anyway. What is it? No, go ahead.
Even though we started this interview on that very dark, tragic moment, the book is a high comedy.
Right.
It swirls around the event you just mentioned, and that was. You're both writers, so you understand that was the nugget. The book had to swirl around that event, and of course, the events swirling around that event were highly comical.
Right.
Just highly comical. The lawyers were, conversations of lawyers, the way they talk so loud and everything is dramatic. She wrote a penis tweet, ladies and gentlemen.
You hate men.
The jury.
Right.
You hate men. So that right there is so bizarre. It's just so abnormal. I just wasn't used to it. So everything struck me as highly absurd and comical. And that's pretty much how the book turned out. So it's interesting that you can take a dreadful, horrible event,
right,
and then lift people up by making them, laugh at it.
Right.
And
the truth that you tell. And that's what struck me too, because you did, it's not a dark book. It is a very hopeful book, and it's a book about basically empowering others to not back down, to never give up, and to face these fears. And the because I do believe that, because you talk about trauma, and that's where comedy really comes from, pain, right? But
exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe that this country is suffering from a national PTSD. We are all in some kind of trauma with this baboon inflicting his manias on everyone. Even the ones who support him are suffering too. And I mean, not just because they're getting their Medicaid taken away, but emotionally they are just as, they're damaged. They're damaged people, and we're gonna. I don't know. The way I feel is there has to be some kind of national therapy or reconciliation or something. And I know
Reading
that
this book would start that.
Right. But how did you get through your trauma to get to this point?
Mary Trump wrote a book, her second book. She had the fabulous bestseller, that explained Trump. She sold 1 million copies the first day. Mary Trump, as you know, is a doctor of psychology.
Yes.
She knows it.
And a dream interview also.
Oh, boy, she just is the best. But her second book, she agrees with you, Devlin Terra. She agrees with you that the country is suffering.
Oh, yeah,
And that is why her feeling is that's why we're having trouble even rising we're not standing up yet. We're still on our lazy asses. Mary thinks it's because we really are, the country as a whole is undergoing shock and
Right.
the after
True.
effect. So you and Mary agree on that.
And I can't wait to talk to her about that too. And yeah, but
I mean, we got to get her on the show for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
She's another hero.
You got things to do, ladies. The two Taras.
You're so funny.
Are you kidding? We are nonstop. And it's interesting, Eugene, because you and I and there's a small select group of women in this world who have spoken out truthfully about Donald Trump and gotten a reaction. Now, certainly mine is nowhere nearly as extreme as yours or some of the other women who have come forward. But 10 years ago, he blocked me on Twitter and has never unblocked me. So he's gettable. He is thin-skinned.
Well, clearly,
he is
yeah.
gettable. You don't really have to poke the bear very hard. And so why is it that you feel, because if he's scared of this little nobody lady from Twitter, and he continues to push back against the truth that you tell about him or anyone else, why do you think anyone would be afraid of him? Considering you spoke the truth, I speak the truth. I don't get why anyone is intimidated by him.
Are you serious?
It's only because I've never been in a room with him, but I've also tweeted the F word to him because I don't care. Nothing he tweeted worried me enough in 2015 where I was like, you're a fool, you're a clown. And I did Epstein stuff and, tweeted pictures of him, molesting Ivanka, and then he blocked me. So that's the guy I think of when everyone's like, oh, I'll just do whatever you say, sir. And that, I guess, goes back to my original. Now, I know he uses his body and his words to intimidate people, but it didn't work on me. So why does it work on some but not others?
Well, Tara, you're dealing with, he's not a clown. He is probably one of the great geniuses of the 21st century. Not only has he captured the United States of America in under 100 days, he has affected Europe, Asia. They are all turning towards dictatorship. He has caught he is super smart.
Wow. Devious.
Then why does he do so many dumb things? He just
he's dumb.
Can't stop
I
being
think
dumb.
it is that he has no morals, and that he's not. And maybe that's more. It's not his. He's not smart as far as history or philosophy or anything or book learning, right? But he has this low cunning that he has no standards. He'll say whatever, he'll do whatever, and I guess he set the bar so low. I don't know. What do you think, Eugene?
Well,
I mean, you know him.
Tara Devlin, he does have morals. He does have, but they are not yours and my standards and morals. His moral code is powerful. And right now, because of his moral code, people think, oh, I can cheat on my taxes.
Right.
And no, I don't have to pay the workers who work for me.
That's right.
And, maybe I should get into crypto and cheat,
Yes.
And I don't care if my parents have no Medicare because I need to have a boat. So he has affected everybody. Little children growing up with the wrong idea. So his moral code, powerful. Powerful. Just think, he set the new standard.
Yes.
And it's not our standard.
Wow.
It's different.
That's the thing. I mean, how do you think, this is another question I had that I was going to ask you towards the end. With all this in mind, do you have hope for the future of American democracy with this kind of, zeitgeist of the day?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. This is America. We'll get it together. We've done it before. We can do it again. We're a little bit in shock, but yes.
Right.
Oh, no. We're going to get off our lazy asses. We are getting off our lazy asses. And that's it. Y'all are part of it. And it's going to be happening I would
Right.
say pretty soon. Pretty
I
soon.
hope so. I hope so. Because the other thing I wanted to
It's
ask
going to be
was,
women.
yes, true. And
Yes,
exactly, it
Tara.
always is,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Right.
Tara. Yes,
And
exactly.
what was it like to sit there? The other thing that was really captivating for me, and your attorney in his closing argument made mention of it, that Trump was out there tweeting, "I never met her, I don't know her," and then he was sitting in the courtroom saying this loudly so the jury could hear. But they never question you along those lines. It was always, "Why didn't you scream?" or "What were you wearing?" The same old tropes that they always attack women who've been abused. And it wasn't, "Hey, how come you're so delusional? You made up this encounter with somebody you had never met." So the right there, it just speaks volumes about the cognitive dissonance, and that the lies are so accepted from him that no one. It's almost like no one even made mention of it. They didn't even. They didn't even
No,
have the decency to argue them. You know.
no, no. My attorney, the greatest civil rights attorney in America, Robbie Kaplan,
Yes.
made that argument repeatedly. And what she did in her final argument, as she was speaking and saying to the jury, "How much will it take you to make him stop? How many millions
Wow.
will it take you to make him stop?" She drove him so insane, he stood up as she was delivering her final argument
Wow.
and walked out of court.
Ah.
And
He
when
can't
He's
handle
a
it.
coward.
Yeah.
He's a coward.
and-
It makes me so
see,
angry.
Exactly, Tara. That's exactly what did that look like to? He lost the case right there when he turned
Yes.
around. He looked like a coward. That
Right.
That is what a sneaky, lying, low-bellied chicken does.
That's right.
He walked out
That
of
is
court.
right.
I know, and here's
Because
Robin.
he can't
Amazing.
handle the truth.
Yeah.
And that's
No.
what it comes down to. That's why he bullied you. That's why he blocked me. That's why he attacks every journalist who asks him questions.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to have to admit to anything or answer to anything. He attacks the questioner or his accuser when he doesn't like it because he knows it's true. And it's especially true this week. There are people probably in the chat who aren't aware of this, but there was a moment where your team could have introduced evidence regarding Jeffrey Epstein in your trial, but chose not to. So could you speak to that, considering we know he's all over the Epstein files. So you had a moment where you could have, but did not introduce Jeffrey Epstein evidence into the trial. We know why, because we've gone through that book meticulously. But tell the kids out there in the world why that choice was made.
First of all, there's no such thing as the Epstein files. They do not exist. They do not.
There's just a whole bunch of papers all over the place.
No. They don't exist. He didn't do it. But what happened is Michael Wolff, the journalist who wrote, remember, Fire and Fury, and he also wrote a book called Too Famous. And in it, he has scores of hours with Jeffrey Epstein. And he had been taping Epstein for years. And one of the tapes he has is Epstein on the phone with a caller and telling him the story of running into Donald Trump shortly after the event happened in Bergdorf. This is 1996.
Right.
And Trump runs into Epstein and, quote, regales him with the, quote, torrid details of what happened in the dressing room. Now, that was incredibly powerful evidence. But we had a hearsay problem. Epstein was dead.
Right. Wow.
Michael Wolff had the tapes, but Robbie did not even bother Judge Kaplan with it because it was too prejudicial. You cannot say the word Jeffrey Epstein in a trial. The judge will not allow it because the jury hears the words and they would just immediately just say guilty. They just
Right.
So that was right there. I mean, that was powerful evidence. We also had evidence. Remember, Donald Trump said he had never been to Bergdorf's.
Right.
And he doesn't even know anything about Bergdorf. But Sean G. Crowley, who was on the Carroll team and brilliant, during a break, asked Judge Kavanaugh if we could introduce some new, fresh evidence that's just come to light. And he said, "What is it?" She said, "We have a book here, Your Honor," and I can't remember the title. And the book is, Tara, you read the book. I can't remember what the title is. It's where Donald Trump gives his shopping tips for buying gifts at Bergdorf's.
Oh my God.
So,
Perfect.
I mean, but
he's never been there.
Yeah, he's never been there. And Judge Kavanaugh said, "How do we know he wrote that book? Because Donald Trump doesn't write the books."
Right.
So we could not prove that he wrote the book. But that's another just delicious thing. A third piece of evidence we did not introduce was, and this came in during trial, my friend Meryl Marco, who used to be a showrunner. She texts me, she says, "Eugene, do you remember that great spy piece? Donald Trump was on the cover and it's about noontime romance." I said, "No, I have no idea." She said, no, you got to look it up. And what it was is Nell Scoville, the great writer, had written a piece in 1986 about the places where New Yorkers go to have their nooners, their lunchtime romance. And of course, Bergdorf dressing room was number 5 on the list. And Trump was on the cover of that. So again, the Carroll team thought that would be good. That jury should hear that, but it just came in too late. We didn't have. We had to, interview witnesses. We had to do, and the Bergdorf Goodman. It's well known in New York. Apparently, it's common knowledge that this goes on in Bergdorf dressing rooms.
Right.
The Bergdorf dressing rooms, as you know, are so gorgeous and accommodating.
And the doors are left wide open.
Wide open
on the lingerie floor that is abandoned. How many hours did Trump's team spend trying to determine, yes, Bergdorf's exists. Yes, there's a lingerie floor. Yes, they have dressing rooms.
Yeah.
And I found it fascinating that their team was the questions they asked you. How old were you when you lost your virginity? How many partners have you had? Your team didn't ask Trump those questions.
No, my team loved those questions. They didn't. They could not. This is a deposition. They're allowed to ask anything in a deposition. Right. And you saw what happened when we asked Donald Trump, "Do you reckon who are the people in this photograph?"
Oh, so
right.
He thought you were
That's
Marla.
Famous. That's the best.
Oh God. But
that's my wife.
He doesn't know you. He doesn't know you. He's never met
Not
you.
my type.
One question we are getting from, I kind of canvassed people that I know in real life and people from my various socials. When you were sitting in court, so close to him, close enough to witness his, whether it was Barbara Stanwyck or Doris Day hair, did he have a waft about him? Was there an odor that was detectable? It's maybe working a tad blue. But the question, Adam Kinzinger said that he smells really bad and everybody knows it and nobody talks about it. Was that detectable in the courtroom?
Maybe they didn't get too close, huh?
I was close. But to tell you the truth, I got no really totally putrid, I had no, but it
totally
every once in a while, but it could have been somebody on the jury. But he was behind me. I didn't. Here's the thing about, he sounded like a leaky pipe of raw sewage.
Wow.
Because he talked during the whole trial, and he
like a baby, who can't control himself.
He just snorted and said terrible things to Alina Habba, Esquire. His attorney belittled her, And so it's
Crazy.
hard. It sounded like it smelled. It sounded like garbage. It sounded
Like
like,
putrid.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what
can't
he is.
swear to it, though.
Right. But I
I
just
could
wonder
say,
right,
yeah.
about, because you are very complimentary to Alina Habba, Esquire, and you paint the scene of her being abused by Trump,
Yeah.
yelling at her, "Stand up, say something." As someone who is a student of life, right, and you wrote an advice column, and you had your television show advice, giving advice and whatnot. What advice would you give to somebody like Alina Habba? I mean, she's not a dope, but why? How much do you have to hate yourself to be abused, to allow yourself to be abused by Trump like that?
No, come on. She weighed the scales. She
Yeah.
came out ahead. He won the election, and now she's
Yeah.
Attorney General of and doing all
Right.
sorts of destruction in the
she
state
put-
of New
she-
Jersey.
right,
So
she rolled the dice.
knows. She knows what she's doing. She took it. She
Yeah.
took that. He didn't yell at her. Which he did worse. He hissed it under his breath. And just constantly a hot stream in her ear, which is even worse than yelling.
Right.
Apparently, afterwards, according to Michael Wolff, on the fraud trial, he dressed down his lawyers extremely loudly and belittled them. But with Alina, he did it quietly, like a snake. It was, she could stand up
Wow.
and go on defending him.
Yeah.
You got to say, Alina Habba's got some hard bark on her. And watch out. She may run for president. Watch out.
Yikes! Yikes!
Oh no.
Do you really think Joe Tacopina threw the trial? Because you say that in the book. Late in the book, you're wondering if he's trying to throw the trial because he knows he can't win. Do you really think Joe handed you and kind of helped you out? Do you really think that?
Well, I ask you. We had first trial, we had an upstate jury. Those are red counties. Those are Trump counties.
Yeah.
So many of our jurors came from upstate. All Tacopina had to do was tell Trump, yes, you should testify. Then Trump, all he had to do was convince one little upstater that he was innocent in the trial, and he would have won, and I would have lost. Tacopina told, nobody is more eloquent than Donald Trump. I mean, he convinced half the country that the 6-time bankrupt guy was a business genius. He could certainly convince one of our little jury members from Orange County that he was innocent, but Tacopina told him not to come, and I'm thinking, Joe, are you the hero? Are you the hero, Joe?
Yes.
I wonder.
He might be. Because
He
even the
might
Tim
be.
Pool guy, even
The
the
Tim
Tim
Pool
Pool guy,
Yeah,
he was a resounding yes and awarded you money, the Tim Pool guy. So, you know.
But Tara, don't you think Donald Trump could have gotten to the Tim Pool guy?
You would
Yes.
think.
problem.
Yeah.
Sure, but like you said, he lost when he got up and he walked out.
Right.
When he showed them
yeah.
what a true coward he was. We have Eugene Carroll with us. You must get her book, Not My Type. And in the last 60 seconds we have with you, because I know we only had you for a short amount of time.
Yes. Thank you for your graciousness.
And thank you. I've been waiting to have a real conversation with you since 1994. And I've written you like this long thing that I'll probably just email you, because if I read all of it, I'll cry. But what I wanted you to know, like the generosity that you offer to all others in this moment that is technically all about you, is pretty amazing. But I wanted you to know that, and I don't remember when it happened, but when you followed me back on Twitter, I burst into tears. It was one of those moments where I was like, Eugene Carroll knows who I am. This means I'm not nobody, you know? Like if I'm in the universe that Eugene Carroll occupies with people like Robbie Kaplan and Lisa Birnbach and Mary Trump and Katie Couric and all of these fabulous people, like I'm on the edge of that, but still being within this realm of your knowledge and being a recipient of this level of generosity from you is like life-changing. And
Now,
there's
Tara,
more. There's
Tara,
more that I will email you, but I wanted you to know how much it means to me to be able to talk to you.
you're a fellow writer. You're a fellow writer, and you're a stand-up woman, of course. We're in this together, of course. What is the name of your book, Tara?
It is The Sound of Settling, a rock and roll love story, and I will be sending you an autographed copy.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
you.
See, no, we're in this together. The two Taras, Eugene, you guys
Thank
are doing
you.
your stand-up job. You just
You're welcome
keep
back
going.
anytime, by the way. Anytime.
Maybe it has to be
You can
the
come on
Tara,
show
Tara,
anytime.
and Eugene show.
I will
Tara,
change it to
Tara.
the Eugene. It'll be the Eugene show with some Taras.
Right,
I
with a
don't
couple
care.
of Taras
You have
on
a-
the side.
You have a blanket invitation to come
Yes.
back and take
Thank
over
you.
But
anytime you want. Our
Can I just
eternal
ask-
Shiro.
I know you have to go, but one last question, and then, if you could send one message to people who do feel disillusioned or powerless now in this political climate, what would it be?
The only reason they feel powerless is because they don't understand they actually have the power. We are his boss. He is not the boss of us. We control him. We are his boss.
Thank
Also,
you.
grab
That's right.
joy whenever it comes along. Grab that.
That's right.
Grab
We
it.
talk about that on the show a lot. Yes, because
Take
they
it.
are not going to
Take it.
take our humanity from us. Or
No, or anything else.
That's right.
That's right.
Well,
I
Tara,
love you. I love you forever
Thank
and
you.
ever. And I want you to go treat yourself to the world's biggest peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh,
while you throw your
yes.
balls to the dog.
Yes.
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 Yes. Everybody get Not My Type. Everybody follow Eugene. She's still doing Ask Eugene on Substack. Thank you so much, my lifelong
Thank you.
Shiro. And I
Thank
hope
you,
to talk to
Eugene.
again soon.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Do I stay
We're gonna-
on and you do the recording? Or what do I
We
do?
can.
you-
You
we're
can just
live.
hang
We're
up.
live.
Yeah.
Do you
or-
want to stay with
Oh,
us?
you could
If you wanna
stay
with
on.
us-
You could stay on the
no,
whole
I-
show.
I thought we were going. Oh, I thought we were recording. We were.
Oh
live?
no,
Okay.
we're live.
We're
We're
live.
live.
This has
We're
been
live.
live.
It's all
Time.
good.
I will bid
You'll have to
our
hang up.
melodious adieu.
Yes.
Our melodious adieu.
We adore
Thank
you.
All
you.
right, my
This
friend.
has
Thank
been
you.
Fun. I loved it. Adios.
Awesome.
Always fun.
See you
Say
soon.
goodbye.
Bye bye.
I'm just gonna.
All right.
Should I read the rest of the stuff that I wrote for her?
If
so
you'd
that the
like.
audience can
Yeah,
hear?
it's up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. I'm going to email this to her because I was going to end on a fangirl moment, but I was really afraid I was going to kind of lose it if I did that. Okay. I will be emailing this to her. Okay. You immediately became a writing / life mentor for me from the moment I began reading your column in Elle in the mid-90s, just based on the way you wrote before I knew a thing about you. I loved the way you used words to create a language out of the English language that is unique to you. And anybody who's read anything Eugene has written just knows how the way she uses language is very unique and special and amazing and like a throwback. And I love all of it. She's always so elegant, so tall and regal, perfectly coiffed and dressed, always going somewhere fabulous or having just come from somewhere fabulous with someone fabulous. And I, the short girl from New Jersey with a billion stories inside of her, wanted to have a life like yours as though you were the most clever New Yorker cartoon in red lipstick. And then the part about her following me back on Twitter, which made me cry. So, and generosity towards all others. You write about a champion who takes the time to not just learn about others, but to share that knowledge with everyone. So, just her generosity, like if you read her book, when she tells you about people, she doesn't just drop a name. She'll say, this person who is won a million things and won these awards and did this and did that and did this and did that and did this, and then goes on to say whatever they might have done when it comes to helping her in this case. But like, I try not to like blindly idolize anybody because I think that's dangerous. And when they say you should never meet your heroes, I think you should meet your sheroes instead, because I'm putting this moment that we had with her right up there with the time that I got to interview Nancy Pelosi. Like I'm shaking. I'm shaking. I'm so like, I'm just, now I have to decompress and we still have time in the show.
Yeah,
to
yeah, we
talk
have time.
about
But one of the things I
what
do
we
want to
just
say,
heard.
that Eugene is fabulous, and one of the things is because she's, in my opinion, and I'm sure in everybody else's, is her humanity. She is in the book, she writes about how she couldn't sleep the nights before she had to go and testify, and how could she wait a whole weekend to have to go back on the stand, and would she ever, be able to go to sleep? And that to me really rang true, because that's courage right there, because you show up anyway, you do it anyway, and it's not perfect. You're not, it's not that she's, she has the same fears, the struggles, the anxieties, and she does it anyway.
She almost didn't do it.
Yeah.
She really had to be talked into going after him, which is stuff that we didn't have time to get into.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an encounter with George Conway at a party that Molly Jong Fast held with a lot of media, journalism, New York-y people. One of those parties that you wish you could have just been a fly on the wall, just based on who was in attendance. But she was introduced to George Conway, and they both remember the events differently. But what it came down to was, yes, you can sue Donald Trump in civil court.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. And she did it. It wasn't just oh, ha, ha, ha. It wasn't let's have lunch, and then it never gets followed up. She got an email from him the next morning with Robbie Kaplan's contact, and it would go and do.
That's where it began.
So and what's interesting, and what that does is it makes you, thank you, George Conway, but also what up with your ex-wife and all the shit she's still doing for Trump?
God. That's a mystery for the ages, really. How?
Right? I mean,
and
they're
her
not
daughter
married
too.
Anymore.
No, they're not married.
The daughter.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, both Kellyanne and Claudia Conway were at the DNC, and I saw them. I passed them. I was making the rounds, and they were doing a media interview, and I wanted to go over to her and be like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Could you imagine? You just stumbled onto CNN as they're doing a live shot.
I mean, and
doing here?
I
wish.
Almost
that would have been great.
Stood there and waited, but then it would have been. I didn't have a camera crew with me, right? I was just this regular person. I did. For people who don't know, I did get a moment with Mike Lindell at the DNC.
Wow.
Yes, live on the Adam Mockler show on the Midas Touch Network. Adam Mockler got Mike Lindell, because what Mike Lindell did was he shaved his mustache and was in the DNC if no one would recognize him.
Right.
And his stupid, loud Tommy Bahama shirts. And he was, so what happened was I had been hanging out with Noah DiBarasso. And now, if you don't know Noah, you should be following him everywhere. It's Knowa. He's 12 or I think he just turned 13. You want to talk about Black Boy Joy? That is Noah. He is the future of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together at the DNC. His mom was like, "Okay, go, we're good." And I hung out. People were like, "Are you his mom?" And I was like, thank you. What a nice compliment. And what happened was, and Noah had that moment that went viral when Mike Lindell was yelling at him.
Right.
And they were yelling about votes in Georgia where Noah lives. And then Noah was like, "So your whole argument is trust me, bro?" And so that's the moment that went viral and really launched Noah. But immediately after that, they kind of pulled me over, and they were like, "Mike Lindell just yelled at Noah." I'm like, "He yelled at a child?" And then they immediately put me on. I was like, "You yelled at a child?" He's like, "You know who I am?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are. You have me blocked on Twitter, doofus. It takes more than shaving a mustache." Jesus. He's like, "Do you have any of my pillows?" I'm like, "Why would I give you any of my money for one of your shitty, lumpy pillows? Why would I ever do that?"
Don't call his pillows lumpy.
Audience is like, "What?"
Yeah, he gets very upset when you call his pillow lumpy. It's really true. I've seen video of it.
They're shitty, lumpy pillows. Which is also what is inside of Donald Trump. Shitty, lumpy pillows, I guess. I don't know. Oh, and
that's,
by the way,
Melania's nickname for him.
Shitty, lumpy pillows. By the way, Rose Blue, thank you for the super chat. Won the Nobel fucking moron prize. Thank you, Rose Blue. Always there in the chat. And hey, everybody's hanging out. If you're so inclined to kick down some scratch to the Tara show, or to our individual Venmos / Substack in the support of independent media.
Yes, I wanted to ask that. I
grateful.
felt a little shy though when to ask Eugene to donate to the independent media.
Well,
to please become
I
a
think-
patron, Eugene, at patreon.com/TaraDevlin.
Sign up for a founding membership subscriber level to our Substacks. One thing that I would like to see, well, wouldn't it be great if she could somehow buy the property that was right next door to Trump Tower and call it like the Sojourner Truth Planned Parenthood Clinic?
Yes.
Or something like that, with the Eugene Carroll Coffee Lounge, and then you could go further into and within the Sojourner Truth building for women. On the second floor is a Planned Parenthood, and on the third floor is resources for abused women, and on the fourth floor, everything, how to register to vote, all of the things, all kinds of resources for women and people in need, right?
Well, if I've been, I live in New York, but one of the things that's most offensive for me is when you go past Trump Tower, where, the baboon resides on occasion, even when he wasn't the so-called president, everything is barricaded with cement. There's New York City police in riot gear and assault weapons guarding the place, and I'm like,
why?
It really irritates me because it's like it is part of the mass psychosis of this country that we're all of this for a baboon who who got, I guess, convinced half the country that
not half. It's not half.
It's not half. It's not half.
Doesn't have a mandate.
No.
Not as right.
It's not half. It's actually, because only 66% of the voting population came out on election day. It's half of that. It's 33%.
33%
of the people who showed up to vote. No,
exactly.
I think it's now it's escaped me. It's either 6 million or 8 million Democrats stayed home that voted for Biden. If they had come out, we would not be in this boat. It pisses me off.
And Eugene is right in when she says how we move forward is we're all gonna get up off of our asses. We've already been in the streets. But what it needs to, and this is another thing. I mean, she talked about this a little bit more with her in the Contrarian interview with Jen Rubin. It's going to be women. It's going to be women rising up and speaking out, and it always has been women leading the charge when things are wrong and pushing back. And it's little moments like that you have to celebrate. Like there's like today, Jasmine Crockett right now is tracking 4 points ahead of John Cornyn to take over his Senate seat.
Oh, wonderful!
Right. So. These are the moments that we have to celebrate. We have to start really. We are the ones that are going to have to brag about Democrats who don't want to brag about themselves. And another way to move forward is to encourage a collective message, right? Because everyone complains there's no defining message in the Democratic Party. It's too much of this. It's not enough. It's too many centrists versus progressives or whatever. You want a defining message. We've mentioned it on this show before, but here's your defining message for the blue wave of 2026 that is coming. It's coming because Donald Trump's approval level now, his approval rating is the lowest of any president ever.
I hope you're right.
Including his
you're right.
It's true.
You're right about the approval rating. I just worry about their dirty tricks. That's all.
Well, but we got to pay attention. But with the momentum that we're building here on the Tara Show and the people that we're going to get to come and speak with us and get the momentum growing, and when we hang up from this, I'm going to be going back to my list of all of the Democrats I want to invite on the Tara Show. Because we want to talk about getting the Democratic press secretary in place. But our defining message from this point forward is co-opting an old Republican message, which was repeal and replace, which they said they were going to do with Obamacare. And they said that for years and they never did it. They still haven't.
No, they've repealed it, a bit of it now. They've repealed.
Well, but they haven't replaced it.
No. They replace it with needless death and suffering, as they always do.
Right, right. So we're going to repeal and replace the big bullshit bill. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
And so, most of the things in the big bullshit bill cannot be implemented until after the 2026 midterms. Republicans know this, and they think that regardless of what happens in the 2026 midterms, those things will get implemented and Democrats will be blamed for it. That's not what's going to happen. That's not what's going to happen.
Some of it's being implemented now. Yeah. But I do
think
like
the hardest hitting things, the worst of the worst.
I do think that I have yet to hear any Democrat, even though I've been calling my representatives and saying that they need to start running on, and I do believe it has to be the big ugly bill, not bullshit, because they're not going to say bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Right, okay,
so
big ugly.
Yeah, right. Because the Democrats, like Schumer, they're not going to say the big bullshit bill. You know what I mean? It has to be like a unifying message. Right. The big ugly, you know, whatever, because it's the exact opposite of beautiful, of course, but and it's not, you know, beauty, I guess, is in the eye of the beholder. If you like needless suffering and death, then that's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's just the alliteration that we always enjoy. Big bullshit bill, big ugly bill stops the alliteration. So is there a B word that is not a good word that we could use but isn't bullshit? We can just call it the big BS bill. And not say the word bullshit.
Maybe. I don't know.
Big BS bill, because it's full of BS. It's BS.
It's true, but ugly is... Let's do a vote on the chat. What do you think? Ugly or bullshit? The big ugly or the big bullshit? BS? Because it has... But I've yet... The point is I've yet to hear any Democrats run with that, and why not?
Right. And also you can't say it on regular TV. You can't say bullshit.
Yeah, not just and like even they're in their own way say it, that they're gonna run on repealing this monstrosity. It's you know, and the other thing that really pisses me off is this is something that's not getting any play at all about Schumer, how Schumer needs to go. It's the reason we're even here is because Schumer would not. You know, that he capitulated months ago. Remember when he capitulated and he would not pull the plug and shut down the government and let the Republicans get away with what they got away with. And because it was supposed to be so horrific. Well, isn't it horrific now, Schumer? And all you would have done, Schumer, is delay this. And that's what we need. We need them to throw sand in the gears of this fascist monstrosity, and they allowed it to continue, and we wouldn't have even gotten here at this point with this big ugly bill if Schumer had had the courage to really fight them. Really, I mean,
which is
what
why
the hell?
We need a new leader in the Senate.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, and it's frustrating also because when you say we need new leadership, a new minority leader in the Senate, you immediately think Cory Booker, but then Cory Booker has also voted with Republicans too much of the time for my liking.
Yep.
And so and you can say Elizabeth Warren, someone will come back and say, but she's just as old as Schumer. And I'm like, I don't think it's not about age.
Not about
age.
About performance. Yeah, exactly.
About performance. My senator, Jeff Merkley, has really established himself as someone who's not afraid to speak out against Republicans and against Trump. And my former senator, Patty Murray, who has been in the Senate the longest, by the way, longest sitting Democrat senator, I believe, in the Senate, because she's been there since like 1993. She would be excellent as well. But when we say, it's time to replace leadership if they're not being effective. I'm not saying Chuck Schumer is to leave the Senate entirely. If he doesn't want to leave, he wants to stay there. But he should not be the leader if he's not able to lead. I'm tired of hearing about strongly worded letters.
I know. Ooh. And what did he do? He said that he changed the name of the bill. He made it. He took off. This is not a big, beautiful bill. It's now called the Act. Who cares? I mean, buddy, wow. I'm blown away by your fortitude.
No one's going to call it that. People are going to still call it what they're going to call it. And also, and we're not, like all of the terrible that they're trying to do to distract from the Epstein files, we can multitask our outrage. And we're not going to let one thing fall by the wayside because a new thing popped up, like this new bullshit investigation into Comey and Brennan. Why do you think that's happening all of a sudden? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, because of because of Kash Patel and the FBI and Pam Bondi and all of them getting heat from the maggots over saying that there's no Epstein list. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so when when Eugene said there's no Epstein files, what it means is there's not a cohesive, there's not a dossier
yeah, I meant to
somewhere
ask
where they're
her.
all stapled together. What she means is there's dribs and drabs of shit that's come in from various sources, some legal, some hearsay, some from his biographers, some from tapes, some from investigations, some from victim testimony like I recorded. So it's dribs and drabs. It's not, there's the client list, there are the flight logs, and then there's just transcripts of victim testimony. And so, but it's not like somebody bound it into a one manila folder so that it's one thing. And so I think, and that is true. So when someone says there's no such thing as the Epstein files, better to call it the Epstein cover-up or the Epstein client list or the Epstein case. Or bring in the Ghislaine Maxwell decision as well and remind everybody that when she went to prison, all Donald Trump said was, I wish her well. I wish her well.
Right.
And that's
Ghislaine,
that is Donald Trump speak for, you better keep your mouth shut from this point forward, Maxwell, or else you're going to end up suiciding
I wish her well.
too.
Right. True.
I wish her well. You better keep your mouth shut.
Right.
That's what it means.
Well, she knows
That's
too.
what it means.
That's
what
I
it
mean,
means.
she's a horrible person.
So-
how can I mean, whatever. We don't want to go down that road. I guess.
No one's given her a pass. I'm not
No,
saying she needs.
No.
But
no, I know.
What she knows is horrific. Everything she knows, and if we could get everything out of her.
Well, she
but
said
we
she
can't.
does say that Epstein did not unalive himself or whatever. She says that,
And I don't think he did. And nobody thinks that. All right, nobody thinks that, and it's thanks to the missing footage from this. From the
minute
from the camera. That minute, and Pam Bondi says it was a glitch. Fuck no, it was not.
A minute glitch that just so happens to
How convenient.
be at the
world's
time
most
that
convenient.
it's
Of
so
all
funny.
the technology that has glitched in the history of technology, this one just happened to
at that
happen at
right
the exact
time.
moment.
Right.
Shut the fuck up entirely.
At the crucial moment.
Right?
Incredible.
Right? So those of us who live in the truth world know what the truth is, and it's. I'm still gonna keep, and I'm gonna keep enjoying watching MAGA go. I don't know what to do. MAGA doesn't know what to do today.
They're confused.
This week, they don't know because are they supposed to be loyal to Musk or to Trump? Do they want Musk and Trump to stay friends? They don't know. If Bill Clinton was all over the Epstein files, shouldn't that be released? Sure.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
what
the
people are
point that
saying. No one's trying to protect Bill Clinton. Just
I'm not.
put
I'm
it
not.
out.
Sure. Where is it?
Yeah.
Okay, and we pointed this out I pointed this out with Hal. We pointed this out on this show. I've written about it repeatedly. Why would Pam Bondi want to protect Democrats? She doesn't. Why would Kash Patel want to protect Bill and Hillary? He doesn't. And why, there's no motivation to protect Democrats, none whatsoever. But the biggest point that kind of was an aha thing for me personally, and I've tweeted it, and it'd be great if it got picked up. If Donald Trump is not all over the Epstein files, and Bill Clinton is, and he's believed this forever, Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019. Why didn't Donald Trump reveal
Right.
Why didn't he
true.
reveal all of this when he was campaigning in 2020? Because I will tell you right now, if we knew in 2020 that Bill Clinton was all over the Epstein files, it would have looked really bad for Democrats. And if Donald Trump's name wasn't in there, but Bill Clinton's was, who's getting elected in 2020? Probably not a Democrat. Because then Donald Trump could have run on, see, I'm not in this shit. I'm not in here, but Bill Clinton did this and Bill Clinton did this. And people have been like, holy crap, Democrats have been lying to us and protecting Bill Clinton.
Right.
And he would have run, and Trump would have run away with the election in 2020, but he didn't do that.
Exactly.
And if this person can prove that they're innocent, because everyone's like, no, it's innocent until proven guilty. Okay, prove you're not guilty. He had the opportunity over and over and over again. He could have done it when he was in court with Eugene, and he didn't do it.
Right.
He has had every opportunity since 2019 to prove that he's not in the Epstein
disgusting. He's guilty.
We know,
he treats people like shit. He,
we
people
know
are objects.
We know that.
Exactly. So,
right. So posing the question to MAGA, which is, because MAGA comes back with, well, why didn't Biden prosecute him? Which is like, that's really a
Biden
counter argument.
is
First
not
of all,
didn't weaponize the government like these fuckers
yeah,
do.
there's
so.
that, and also Joe Biden was a little bit busy rebuilding this country after Donald Trump sunk us into a pandemic depression. So he was a little bit busy trying to, take care of stuff, which he did beautifully, which no one ever talks about, his record economy and lifting us out of the depression
that's
to
the
the
other
point where we
thing.
lifted up
Yeah.
all other global economies.
Mm-hmm.
But the point being, Donald Trump can have, if he's such an innocent and transparent person, there's no reason to not release the Epstein files. Oh, but wait, then you're not. If you're not releasing them, even like when the MAGA influencers like DC Drano and Libs of TikTok were dancing around with the binders, and then they opened up the binders and they're like, "Where's the Bill Clinton stuff?" What? And there's none. There's no Bill Clinton
This is
stuff
pages
for them
of redactions.
black redaction.
Just black
Who do you
columns.
think? Who do you think is there? People are like, why aren't Democrats investigating? Well, I'll tell you
course.
what, Democrats would love a copy of the unredacted Epstein
Yeah.
files. Guess what? Pam Bondi won't give that to them.
Exactly.
So
And
what
these
would
are
you
the
like Democrats to do?
Exactly. And these are the people, make no mistake, if they didn't want to redact something, they wouldn't. These are the people that release the JFK files with people's phone numbers and social security numbers unredacted. That's how
Right.
disgusting they are.
That's
So
right. And you'll also remember the Fox News interview where it was him and the Rachel Campos from The Real World and all of the other idiots on Fox News, and they're like a quick round, like, would you declassify the JFK files? Sure. Would you declassify the 9/11
Right.
files? Sure. Would you declassify the Epstein files? Well, with that, that's a little more because you're fucking all over the Epstein files, and you have to watch his language. Watch the way he uses language.
Right.
The Truth Social post that came out today. Why is everyone talking about whether or not I'm all over
it's
the Epstein files?
crazy.
In fact,
Well,
he's
yeah.
using the phrase all over the Epstein files because he's all over the Epstein
Yeah.
files. Keep using that. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't care. And it's frustrating if the mainstream media is like, oh, well, now he's going after James Comey and he's going after Brennan. Okay.
Now
don't let
it's like,
that
look
distract
over
you.
here. Here's the shiny object. And that's what it's
Nope.
in Eugene Carroll's book. She writes that he, at one point, I can't remember the exact context but the baboon was saying, just deny it. Deny everything.
Right.
That's his strategy. So I'm
Right.
even surprised in those clips where they were like, will you release the JFK or MLK or whatever? And Epstein, I'm surprised he paused for a second to contemplate it because, he's just a filthy liar. He lies and like he'll tell, like what is
lie on
that
top of a
game?
lie
Yeah,
to
like
cover up
the
a
two
lie.
lies and a truth. I mean, he does that in every sentence.
Two truths and a lie.
Two
He never-
truths and a
yeah,
lie.
it's-
Well, he does two
All
lies
lies
and a
and
truth.
no truth is the game Donald Trump plays.
Right.
And we know that. And this is why it's so incredibly important to support independent media voices. Because when I said to her, I'm not afraid of him, she's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, well, again, I haven't physically been in a room with him.
Yeah.
But I have been in rooms with men who are tall, men who are in positions of power, men who try to intimidate others with their positions. And I'm like, actually, you're weak and spineless if this is your tactic.
Yeah.
And I understand it intellectually. And because I'm a curious person and I'm a student of humanity, and I look at people from a sociological standpoint, if I can figure out the why of you, like why you behave this way and what your deal is, I'm like, okay, well, this is who you are. And now I know how to deal with you. I unlocked Donald Trump a really long time ago. Just the same way I unlocked MAGA. I understand how you try to manipulate language and move the goalposts and turn things into semantic arguments when you don't want to face what the truth is head on, which is why he attacks those people who tell the truth about him, like myself. And so for me, like if I ever got in the room with him, I'd be like, why'd you block me on Twitter 10 years ago?
He probably wouldn't.
Because I don't
know.
care.
What does he know?
No, I mean,
You know?
he wouldn't. But the point being, from this point forward, I want everyone to follow in Eugene's footsteps and get off your lazy asses and rise up and use accountability to hold them accountable. Use their words
They're not
against
lazy.
them.
They're not lazy.
No, we're not lazy. But she said we have to get. She says
Yes.
we have to get up collectively. Americans,
Yes.
collectively, get off your lazy.
All the
asses
ones who
and
haven't got up yet.
Women
get
will
the
be
hell up.
leading the charge. What a great
Yes.
episode of the Tara Show. Historic, amazing, should be studied
It is.
by future
It will
journalism
be.
students.
It will be.
Because The truth always matters. We thank you for being with us.
Thank
Jim,
you guys
for being the best moderator. Please sign up for our Substacks. If you can forego a Starbucks and kick us down a little scratch, we would appreciate it so much, because I don't know if you know this, the freelance lifestyle does not come with a cushy salary or a 401k. So
it's life without a net, that's for sure.
It is, and at a scary, uncertain time such as now, supporting each other truly does matter more than ever. And just as a little bit of personal, gonna punch myself in the shoulder bit of business, you did not hear about that excerpt from the Epstein files from anybody else but me. Sorry, the media didn't report on it. They did not.
They would not.
They're still not. They're still not.
They normalize him.
And
they normalize
and people who are right, and people responding like, why didn't I ever hear about this before? Why is this brand new? People yesterday challenging, is this real? And I'm like,
just
Jesus
Google
Christ,
it, damn it. Yeah.
Look up the case file. It exists. It's a matter of public record. So, maybe someday we'll get into other things that I have been right about over the years. But for now, just know that I will never lead anyone astray with obfuscation or lies. I am about the truth. Devlin is about the truth. The Political Voices Network is about the truth. My Substack, Devlin's Substack, Eugene Carroll's Substack.
Yeah.
All truth. And her Substack is really an extension of her L column.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Eugene, because she puts out what she calls the conflab. She puts out a question to the conflab and gets back the answers and
amazing.
Creates conversation.
She's just great.
And she's incredible.
American treasure.
She's all the life goals.
She's
the
a
goals
national treasure
of life.
Yes.
I love her. We hopefully we'll get her back. And from here on out, we're gonna get
Mary Trump.
I'm gonna reach out to Mary Trump. I'm going to reach out to a whole bunch of Democrats. If there's anybody that you want to see on the Tara Show, please let us know. We will do what we can to get those people to join us. And we will see you back here on Tuesday.
All right. And I'll see you
Tara
guys
time,
tomorrow.
Same Tara channel.
There'll be if you're looking for something to do on Friday nights, Jim and the moderator in the chat room, is also the moderator at Tarabuster at youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Time. I don't know. Somebody contacted me. They were like, "Stop saying Standard Time."
Whatever time.
Whatever time.
By the way,
my time.
I like this time. This is good time. I like this time because it's light out early, and then it stays light later.
What do you mean? Our time is different than Tarabuster time, though.
This
what are you talking about?
I mean, this time that we're having right now. It's not daylight saving time, wherever.
That time where I know what you're talking about, where the sun doesn't go down at 5 o'clock. I hate that time.
And it is still not dark at 7 a.m. I don't like waking up to dark. It's stupid.
Oh, I hate that.
Here in the Pacific Northwest, it can stay light out till almost 10 in the summer. It's glorious. There's still a little bit of light in the sky. I'd like it to stay like this. And you know who else would like to stay on the time that we're on now? Is Donald Trump. Weirdly enough.
I know. They want to do away. They do this all the time, but it never seems to go anywhere. I know.
I think it makes sense. Anyway, and speaking of time, we are way over hours. Thank you so much, everybody who hung out with us the whole time.
Yeah.
And we'll see you
It's a little
back here
extra. A
on
little
Tuesday.
extra TNT.
Just like we are. We're a little extra, too. I am, at
I'll
least.
see
Everybody,
you.
thank you so much. We appreciate
you tomorrow.
We'll see you Tuesday.
8:30, and we'll see you Tuesday right here on the Political Voices Network. See you soon. Oh, people saying, are you located in Los Angeles? No, New York, and where are you?
Portland? I'm in Portland.
Yes.
I am in Portland, Oregon. Hello. Thank you, Errol Thomas, for that question.
All right, guys. See you soon.
Bye.